Hi. Okay. Well, it's saying that we're live here, but I am looking on Facebook right now and it's 0. Here we are. Now we're live. Okay.
And I just realized I was in such a rush. My name's wrong on here.
Okay.
All right. We'll correct everybody. It's Tammy Revard.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Empowered by Adversity with Stacey Roseman, Gilad Corsanti, and Tammy Revard. Tammy's here to talk to you today about some really exciting things, and I'm really excited that you're here today. I have some really exciting things to share with you too, but I'm going to pass it over to Gilad right now so we can get Tammy in here and get her started. And I'm going to talk to you about all different types of meditation that I've been doing because for my healing process, all the visualization, meditation, and I'm going to share that with you guys because I'm going to be sharing it with you completely, fully soon. Here, Gilad, go ahead.
Thank you. I want to welcome Tammy back again. Tammy.
Hello.
Hi, Tammy. My dog is trying to get out of my room here. Oh, there she did it.
We're all having airhead days.
Right, everybody's an airhead today. Tammy was on the show a few months ago telling us her story about how she got noticed because of the story that the experience that she went through. And I'm going to let her explain in a minute how she got noticed, who helped her out. She wrote a book called The True Airhead, and she's up there with the top 8. Damian John from Shark Tank, Russell Bronson of
ClickFunnels,
right? Ashley Black, Natasha Grano. She was named one of the top 8 New York Weekly's authors to look out for in 2022. And that's huge because I don't think you expected that, right, Tammy?
Not
and I don't think you even expected to write a book.
It was on the day of the book launch. And when I didn't know, I had somebody interview me and then I never heard back from. And I even wrote her a couple times and I never heard a word.
From where?
And then, from New York Weekly.
Oh, okay.
And so then I wrote her a couple times, never heard back. And then all of a sudden somebody else tagged me on the day of my book launch. And so it
that's
was
an
a great
extra
surprise.
What a pleasant surprise, right?
Yes, very.
Who would remember that day forever?
Yes.
Until the next book.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. We'll see, but I doubt it.
Tell us what inspired you to write your story.
My whole life changed. I was in such a low place. I worked on, let me go back to, we'll kind of go into what happened and what caused everything. I had an allergic reaction to mold. There was a sprinkler spraying on my house, and my ex-husband, I hired 2 different gardeners and he sent them away. He thought,
how long ago is this?
2009.
Okay.
So, and he said, I don't want to pay for gardeners. I'll do it. I'll take care of it. And of course he never did. And so then I kept having asthma attack after asthma attack and had
While you were living in this property.
What?
How long did you live in the property? Are you still there?
No, that was with my ex-husband. We bought it in 2002 and it was only 6 years old when we bought it. So the house was less than 10 years old, but it was, right around there, but it was because of the sprinkler spraying on the house. That's what caused the mold, is just this broken sprinkler. And so I kept having asthma attack after asthma attack. And the last one was so severe that he started to drive me to the emergency room, and the song Live Like You Were Dying, at the time that was real popular. And I had been to somebody's funeral where that played a couple months before. So I really thought I was dying. I literally felt I was gasping for air so bad, and I was so out of breath.
Oh my God.
And so then instead of taking me to the emergency room, he took me to the closest urgent care because I was so bad.
Right.
And I got to the urgent care and they didn't even check me in. They just brought me back and started putting me on albuterol.
That was smart thinking, though, for him, because when you're like in a panic
right,
situation,
because I was so bad.
That was really smart.
So they put me on the albuterol and I passed out. And I only passed out for a few seconds, but it was enough to make my brain deteriorate from lack of oxygen. And so then my spelling, my grammar, I've had years of speech therapy, physical therapy, but my brain's just not been the same since that happened.
I understand completely.
Yeah, you do, Stacy. You definitely do. And so then when after that happened, then I still worked on award shows. I had to leave my real job, but I stayed with my award shows, but in a lesser position.
But that was one of your jobs?
Wait, yeah, I worked on just part-time for fun, but I worked on the Grammys, the Emmys, and
right. I don't think everybody knows what you're talking about, because I know what you're talking about, and you talked about it last time you were on, but that's like what you were doing before, right?
Yes. And so but I had to go from talent department to seat fillers because I wasn't capable of doing so.
Your brain wasn't functioning properly, you mean?
Right. For talent department, I would pull talent and I only had 2 minutes, and like all of a sudden I couldn't find a seat. You know what I mean? And you know what that's like, Stacy. You know what I mean? And when you only have 2 minutes and everything's timed, I couldn't have that responsibility once I had.
I have a great idea. Why don't we talk about like the issues, what it's like when you're going through with a traumatic brain injury, so people can understand like a little bit. Like you can talk, like explain some of your issues. I can explain some that I'm dealing with right now, because I've been through it before and I got back completely. But I think this would be really interesting for people to understand what it feels like when you're dealing with the traumatic brain injury, and it's okay.
You and I both have such positive attitudes, but it's in the back of our minds. It is very frustrating when you know you're not capable of doing some things and you have to adapt and you have to apply. I know what I can do, what I can't. There's things now I just I joke them off, another airhead move, because I know I make mistakes.
So you adjusted to work around it. And that's what I'm saying. Like when it's exercise, whatever it is, you can readjust your life. Our lives are always changing. They're always changing. And it's how you deal with change. And it's like a situation, you got to just change quicker, more rapidly. You have to make quicker decisions, which is really interesting, though, because part of your brain's not working, and the other part, in the fight for flight, and the other part that has to make the logical decisions, at the same time. And you can like categorize those different parts of your brain. You kind of know what I'm saying?
Kind of, yeah. But it gets frustrating because there's a lot of things that you're just not capable. And it's either you can be Debbie Downer, or what you and I chose and said, no, we're not going to let this stop us.
Right.
We're just going to adapt to know what we can do.
And let it empower us.
We're not capable of. And
let it empower us.
Around what we're able to.
Yeah, Tammy, did you ever think you would be able to write a book?
Absolutely not. In fact, and that's what I was starting to say, I went on this entrepreneur challenge with this amazing community and called YAP. And a speaker, Willie Tubbs, called on me.
Right.
And he said, what do you have different than all 250 people in the room? And I said, I'm an airhead. Part of my brain is not there.
I love you.
And he said, why haven't you written a book? And I said, and it's like you're talking about, because I knew my limits there. And I said, it's not that I'm trying to be negative, but I'm not capable. I said, my spelling and grammar are so bad. And he said, that's what editors are for.
That's right.
Actually, Stan Harris said that, but because he just said, I'll help you. Willie Tubbs just said, I'll help you. And then Dr. Stan Harris chimed in and said, that's what editors are for. I'll help you as well.
Tammy, I need help with that, because you inspired me to get back on track, which is where I started when I got into this industry 4 years ago. I mean, I've been in healing for 35 years, but in this industry, when I started studying with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, was like 4 years ago. And you have inspired me. I started out with my book, and then I went from my book to like all these other things that were like, really big, but my book was already written. I had written for 25 years. So you have re-inspired me during this down period that I'm having. And I want you to know that it's because of you and Michelle. And I'm so grateful to Michelle, our friends as well. And she's going to be coming on here soon. The two of you guys who are dealing, with similar situations and have been able to write a book. And I am just so grateful for both of you.
So no, I'll definitely help you, Stacy. It's in today's times, it's much easier to do. It's not like it was years ago.
It's
but
very
also, I self-published because even though I had two of the biggest, and we didn't get to that part of the story, but I had two of the biggest entrepreneurs in the world offering to help me, but they didn't offer financial. Which is fine, but they just offered.
You made it work though too. I mean, you have a whole class itself just by that. Everything that you have learned over this experience, and you've been able to make it work like reasonably.
Yes,
that is a course that you have to do.
So, and I do. I teach a course, and in fact, I just Brittany Malinchek just had me teach her. It was very exciting. She just had me teach her mastermind, and I did a one-night course for her mastermind, and taught them all what they need to know to write the book. So, no, I definitely am helping people with that because
I'm so motivated and inspired by you.
So
Stacey,
ditto to both of you ladies.
Thank you. I'm luckily not going through brain trauma. We all have different issues.
Well, you're here for other reasons.
But you've had recovery with your stem cells and everything with what you do.
But that's okay. That's okay. I want to know what were your symptoms? Because I know Stacey's going to also talk about, because she had brain trauma from an accident. You had brain trauma from mold poison.
I was hit as a pedestrian, but I'm also dealing with brain trauma right now, which is more frustrating because I understand it and I know how to get through it. But because of that, it's like I wanted to hurry up and happen real quick. And I know it's got to take its time. People, it's got to take its course of action. You have to do different tools. It's really important to learn, to understand how to deal with this, to get through it. And I am fighting tooth and nail every single day to get back to to far exceed that. But yeah, I got my blinders on. I'm sorry. You guys.
But you also have to adapt to this is where you're at, and you're still alive.
Right.
You didn't die. You're still grateful. Because like I tried to go back to college and I was spending 5 to 6 hours to do homework that should have taken 20 minutes. And I was going to the special needs lab and I just had to realize, and the doctor finally set me down and said, you've got to realize you're not capable of that. And that's okay. You just have to find something else that you can adapt to.
Tam, so I just want to share with you, okay? So I had to deal with this before, when I was hit by the car as a pedestrian, and I did get it back fully. It took longer than I expected. Then I had to go through it again with a situation that happened, which you know about.
I cannot believe
it took 4.5 months last time, right? And I know that you are dealing with whatever you're dealing with, and I'm so sorry, and I'm so proud of you and so grateful. But I have to stay with the thought that I know that I got through this 4.5 months last time, so I'm going to get through it this time. But I'm having problems with spelling, and it's because I can't see visually. The part of my brain because my skull that got fractured is the occipital bone, and the part
that's where mine is. And
really, and the part of the brain there is visualization. So it's like we can't visualize.
Part of my brain is missing right at the occipital nerve.
That's where my fracture is.
When you say it's missing, Tammy, do you mean that the cells are dead? The brain cells are dead?
It's not like it's completely gone. So like they talk about TBI, there's so many people that their brain can come back and it can rejuvenate. But mine is completely gone. And they tested me at 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years.
Right.
And like
What
I
did
said,
you
and
have,
that's
an
when I
MRI?
tried going back to school too.
Honey,
And-
did you have an MRI? That's what I did
Yes.
today. Right before this, they did an MRI on my brain and a CAT scan on my skull. Is that what you did, an MRI on your brain?
Yes, yes.
So that's what I
Yeah.
just had done today.
So that's where they found it, was in an MRI in my brain.
Right.
And so I just, like the doctors have said to me, I just have to face that it's not, because at 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it didn't rejuvenate. I just have to realize that it's okay, but it's not progressing the way that that it has with other.
It's not healing the way.
Right. It's not going. It's not going to come back. It's
Yes.
not going to come
Right.
back.
Well, we're going
because
to
it's
have a
gone.
little test here with me because I am determined to get this back as quickly as possible. And because I've had, I lost my memory for a year and a half before when I was bedridden for 4 years in 2003. We're going to work me really hard, and I'm working me really hard. So I just want to
But
see.
you don't want to push yourself where you're too hard. That you're disappointed because we're also getting older. And so
So I surrendered already. I completely surrendered. But what it is, I'm doing my, I call it my healing incubator. That's when I do my meditations, different types of energy medicine meditations. And that's what's healed me from everything else. And I do my visualization. So I'm specifically working on rewiring the neurological brain and the cells in my body. So right now, I'm working very specifically and very diligently on this. So I'm just curious. Look, we are for different reasons completely.
Right. But another thing you can try doing, which somebody taught me in a class, is when you're reading your affirmations or write your affirmations down. And when you do that, do them with the opposite hand. So if you're right-handed.
Oh, right. I do that. I'm actually ambidextrous, but I do that anyway because even when I go out for a walk, I walk the opposite way sometimes.
Because it gets your brain to think of a situation in another way. So for anyone out there, if you're mad at someone or angry, just write a letter with the opposite hand. Now, when you're ambidextrous, it's a little bit different because you can handle both. Like my writing with my left hand, you can't even read a word of it, and that's okay. But if you write the letter out, then you can tear it up. But that way it has your brain looking at the situation in a completely different way.
You created new pathways in your brain doing that. Yeah, that's what I do all the time. That's in rewiring your brain and the cells in your body, which is what the ASEA has done tremendously for me. And I'm waiting for that to kick in with this right now because I know that I can't wait to get the results of the fracture because it's not even 6 weeks yet. And they told me 2 months that it was going to take for the fracture to heal. I know it's healed, but the brain injury that I'm dealing with, Tammy, that you're dealing with, is still an issue. And it's really frustrating, Tammy. I'm really frustrated.
Stacey, you don't know exactly what happened, right, to your head. And that is the issue, that you don't know because you passed out. So you don't know really where
Gilad, nobody knew that but you.
Oh,
so
it's okay. Now they do. It's okay.
But I'm saying that when you know, when you got hit by a car, when you got hit by a car, it took how long to heal from that? When you got hit?
A year and a half.
Well, and you also got to realize, unfortunately, we are all over 50 here. And when you get over 50, your body also recovers much slower.
No.
And so it's not going to be as fast. No.
I don't look at it like that either, Tammy. I'm not like that, Gilad. You probably are not either. I come from the ultimate positive place because I heal so quickly. It's ridiculous. And that's why the ASEA helped me so quickly. But, we have a choice how we're going to look at things. And that's been your experience. Gilad, you talk.
Well, no. I know. I told you, Tammy, and when you're ready to make the full commitment, I can't wait to see what it will do for you. Really, this cell signaling supplement, and really, I didn't even want to talk about this today, But what it does do is it improves your system of cellular detection, repair, and replace. And if you can improve that by giving yourself more of these communication molecules, you don't need to say I'm 50 or I'm 60. You can say I'm healing faster because I am replenishing my body with something that it already makes, but makes less as we age. And so I feel actually
signaling that we're signaling before in our genes that are really important, which kind of, it's as though it's reversing the aging process. Am I allowed to say that?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
But ASEA does not claim that it's going to heal, treat, or cure anything. Tammy, do you want, hold on, Stacy, do you want to talk about what the meditation does for you or how it's helped you cope?
And also how the ASEA helped you the first time. You can talk about that for sure.
Okay, well, this is very clear. I'm very clear with this. So when this past year, when I was dealing with a situation, unfortunately, and I'm going to say fortunately as well too, because I had the experience and the knowledge from a prior experience. And you know what? I don't consider myself like having bad luck or whatever. You know, yeah, look, things happen in life and things happen on different levels. And that's just the way life is. Life is full of challenges. So yeah, this is the way that my challenges have landed. And yes, I have learned a lot from it in order, you know, for me to take that to, excuse me, I have allergies, which the ASEA has helped tremendously. But which I can take those experiences and everything that I've learned in the past, which gives me the opportunity to take an obstacle. This is an obstacle, making it an opportunity and making it something positive so I can turn it around and I can help a lot of other people with that. And that's where I'm at in life. That's how my brain works. What can I do to service to help other people? So what I've been doing is whenever I get into a place that's pretty traumatic, like a scale of 1 to 10, like up there, 8, 9, 10, you know, and then there's the 11. Okay. So whenever I get up there, I have to go into what I call my healing incubator. And this is my energy medicine meditation where I lie in bed, sometimes for an hour, sometimes a couple times a day for an hour, sometimes for 3 hours, sometimes for 3 months, and sometimes for even a year have I done this. And there's different types of meditations that I do. There's the one on the visualization for like the law of attraction, when we want to create things. But no matter what it is in our life that we're doing, if it's a physical problem, if it's a mental problem, if it's an emotional problem, or if it's a spiritual problem that we're not connected to ourselves, there's 4 levels of healing. It's 4 pillars of healing. So I have different meditations that I do in my healing incubator and laying there for different amounts of times. But that's because I know my body and my body knows me. So we send messages like to my soul. It's my soul and my physical body that sends the messages to each other. And I know how long I have to be in a specific meditation, which is what I'm going to also be showing you guys, the different types of meditation for different types of situation, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, or mental, to open up yourself, to open up your chakras, all your meridians in your system, which is like our roadmap, a body. It's like a roadmap in our body, which acupuncturists, wow. Can I take a breath?
Well, of course.
Okay.
You would never know you had a brain injury the way you just spoke.
I know, right? Because there's certain things that I know, and I know it so well. And it's like, okay, so this part of your brain right now, I'm very scientific. I wish I had went to school for science, but it's not too late. And everything else that I've studied, you know, and then I'm still studying. But the thing is, so, all right, so I'm having a moment right now. Gilad, do me a favor.
I'm going to talk to Tammy for a minute. Tammy, your book just got published. Where can you purchase it?
It's available. You can go to my website, www.thetrueairhead.com.
I'll put that in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. And we need to change my name on the chat because I made an airhead mistake and put a Q instead of an A on there.
Wait a minute. I put my glasses on. I don't see that.
So I put Ricard instead of Revard.
So it's called www.thetrueairhead.com.
Why don't I do that?
And also, where else can you find it?
But you know what, Tammy? We were supposed to talk about the mold poisoning. I mean, we got.
Yes, I'm going to get to that. I just want everyone to know that they can buy. Tammy's book.
It's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's called The True Airhead, and it's at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target online. There's over 80,000.
Amazon. Right now, Amazon seems the easiest to me. Plug for you, Amazon.
But Tammy, okay, so here's what I want to do, because let's use this as a teaching moment, okay? I'm a teacher. Let's use this as a teaching moment. What happened to you, you didn't realize that you had the mold poisoning until all these asthmatic attacks, right?
Well, not even after the asthma attacks. It wasn't until I got separated from my husband and moved out of the house. I had many surgeries that were not necessary. Like they took out my uvula. And they did a deviated set. The uvula is like in the back of your throat, behind your, and they took it out because
to make your airway
kept getting infected, and so they wanted to find a way to. They just kept trying to open up my lungs because it was the mold that was causing the infection. But they were trying to find all different ways to help me breathe. And they kept saying they couldn't figure it out because my asthma was coming because my vocal cords would get so infected they would close up. And it wasn't really coming from my lungs the way most people. And they found out the reason why was because the mold. But what's happened is I've been telling my story, I'm going into more and more like clubhouse rooms, and or when I'm at a speaking engagement, almost every time someone hears my story, they resonate with the mold. They know somebody else that's had a mold issue, but you never.
This is so important,
and you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it on the news. They don't talk about it. It's like kind of this hidden taboo where I know of people that have moved out of their house. They've been so sick, but it's not discussed enough. And
it's hidden suffering.
Yeah. And there's so many people that when you
what are the signs, Tam? What are the signs?
What
are the signs? What are the signs? People, how can people be aware of this?
Headaches, grogginess, dizziness. I think a lot of fibromyalgia. If you really start realizing
joint pain.
Yeah. So it creates autoimmune. Are you saying
forgetfulness, lightheadedness,
honey?
And so I have not had an asthma attack since I moved out of that house.
So you think that it causes like autoimmune problems?
Symptoms.
It's not. Yes, that's what I meant. Symptoms. You think it causes like autoimmune symptoms? Thank you so much,
yes.
Gilad. That was so important.
Yes.
And I meant
definitely causes autoimmune symptoms.
But they'll go away when you get away from it?
Yes. Mine was away within 2 weeks. They were going to do steroids into my vocal cords. I had gone for the pre-op. So he scheduled the surgery. And then I went for the pre-op after I separated from my ex-husband.
Right.
And that was in 2012. So that was 3 years after my major asthma attack. And
so you thought, Tammy, the ex-husband was the mold or the house was the mold?
Both.
Are you serious?
Both. But
I love it. But I love it more than Tammy and I got that.
So, but when I separated from him, it was like I went for the pre-op 2 weeks later, and the doctor looked at me and said, "What did you do different?" And I was scared, like something was wrong. And I said,
I left my husband.
Yeah, I said, I moved out of the house. I separated from Richard. Wow. And he said, your lungs or vocal cords are completely clear. He says, wow. I don't even need another appointment with you right now.
You want to talk
about I always thought it was mold. And he said it had to have been. It's the only thing that makes sense. And I have not had, so when my new husband and I,
can I say something? This is important. Tammy.
Yeah.
I just want to state something really important. Okay. So this is when the emotional and the physical, here it shows clearly, when there's an emotional problem, how it can manifest in the physical body. you know,
Well,
and because of the mold and your body was weakened, your immune system was weakened, that it ended up, yeah, that's
well, and they say stress can definitely cause issues, but yes,
Sure.
but the mold, I think, is in so many people's houses that they don't realize. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They
So
have
what do we do?
in a closet or a bathroom that leaked or a little, you know,
What do we do?
issue.
So basically what you do is you make sure that if you see water damage, that's an obvious potential for mold to grow. If something has been wet or exposed, you have about 24 hours, right, before the mold starts to grow. So that's why, like when I had my basement flooded from, you know, a storm, within 24 hours, the crew was there, the fans were on, right?
Yeah.
Everything was ready to dry everything up, because otherwise the mold will start to grow. And what I learned when I researched this is that everybody has toxicity in their body, right?
Right.
A certain amount. It's called the total body burden. And people with mold
Spell that,
toxicity,
please.
burden, like BURDEN. And when it's really high, you don't necessarily know what it's coming from, because your symptoms aren't necessarily going to be reflective of mold, right? It could just be you're toxic and things aren't coming out, right?
Right.
But when you realize that you know the signs of it, so the regular signs, the basic signs of mold, and I don't know that you even had that, are like runny nose, itchy eyes, wheezing, sinusitis. Those
are all signs of an allergy too. Those are all like an allergic reaction.
Exactly. But if you're allergic, it's even worse. So you obviously had some kind of allergy to it. But what happens is that at the second level, this is what I looked up, the second level of, you know, you're still being exposed to it. No problem. Because I want to understand. That's when you get the headaches and the migraine and the joint pain and the muscle cramps and the nerve pain and the numbness. Listen to these symptoms. They could be like 20, 30 different things. Vertigo, frequent colds, fatigue, weakness, and then the poor memory, the brain fog, and hard to focus.
Wow.
And the last one is the serious respiratory illness, which is what you had, Tammy. So you must have bypassed or not noticed.
No, I had all those. Oh, I definitely noticed it, but we thought it was just we thought it was regular allergies or my asthma. I had no idea it was the mold till I moved out of that house, for sure.
Right.
And so that's what I was starting to say. When I moved here, I got the new house tested because we live near the water and I wanted to make sure it was safe. But there is testing out there.
Yes.
Some people think bleach is enough, but bleach is not enough. You need to get, you know,
it's in the walls. It's in the ceilings. If you don't take care of, like you said, of a leak, it's gonna be there, and that's very important when you buy a house. You know, unless it's a new brand new house.
You guys do this with me. Let's find out. I mean, like how deep this needs to go when a property does have mold in it. Why don't we try to find out? I'm going to talk to a friend of mine in Philadelphia who is a builder of high rises. And
but there's many issues. Yeah, you can look on the internet. It's all over. There's mold companies out there that will invest in, and there are many.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get it tested, right?
Yep, there's ways, definitely. I want you to also know something, that how long the symptoms last in you, Tammy, depends on the type of mold. The type of mold, that's the first one.
There is more than one type.
You've been exposed.
Right.
That was a while for you. Right. And how well your body eliminates toxins. Because, Stacy, not everybody is affected the same way that Tammy had.
Right.
Right? Like
those are the allergies. The same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is why, in my opinion, ASEA would help somebody who is going through it. Now, you removed yourself.
Detox.
Right. You removed yourself from the source. So when you did, your body started to eliminate the toxins, but not but you recognize that you could have been there for more years and done even more damage, right? Like
Definitely.
not everybody, right? So one of the things ASEA does is it helps you detox, remove toxins by increasing the cellular communication. And it's not just mold, it's all sorts of abnormal cells.
Right. And then some of the side effects from that can be like, I think with Tammy, she was tired. I mean, I didn't have side effects. I was like brilliantly so lucky, so gratefully lucky, you
But
know.
Tammy probably has remnants of the poison.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, I'm saying,
Oh,
obviously
I
you feel
can tell
better.
you, I know for a fact I have remnants because when Randy and I have gone and looked at houses, there's houses within 2 to 3 minutes. I could just feel it in my throat.
You itch under your neck.
What?
From allergies,
tingle.
I itch right under my chin.
Yeah,
So
you
Tammy,
just feel all down my
should
throat.
hire
I
should hire you when I go look for a house and take you with me. And you will let me know very quickly.
Because I have to leave the room within. There was one house in particular that I had to look at Randy, and he knew, and it was like, and then we found out that house got flooded, and I could just tell within a few minutes. I'm like, Randy, I need to take the phone outside, you know, and I think I was talking to Stacy on the phone actually, but it was like I had to leave that house. I was just feeling it within a couple minutes in that house.
Yeah. That's great that you're so in touch with yourself. That's so important. That awareness. I talk about that all the time. Just being aware of how you feel, you know, and that's a huge thing. It's huge to like check in with yourself at different times of the day, but just to have that mirror, knowing that you are having an issue intuitively knowing is
so
huge.
many people have no idea that it's mold that is causing them sick.
But you knew, and you intuitively knew because of this.
No, when she left the house, she knew.
Well, that was years later because of all I went through. But when I lived at that house, I always thought maybe it could be from that sprinkler, but I didn't know until I left the house, and I recovered so quickly.
Right.
That, you know, I always thought in the back of my mind, maybe it could be that sprinkler, but I really didn't know.
Right. So, well, I think everybody should go out and get their copy of The True Airhead. Support Tammy.
Absolutely.
In her cause. And
Amazon, where is it? Target, Amazon, where is it?
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble. Target online, not in the stores, but Target online. And many bookstores, you'll be able to get it online. And I believe libraries as well online. If not, it'll be coming to libraries soon. So.
And I think it's amazing. You definitely are a true inspiration. There are people out there debating, should I write a book? Should I do this? Should I do that? Well, your whole attitude is, if I can do it, right?
You can
do. That's definitely my attitude, is if I'm able to write this book with part of my brain missing, any of you can do it out there as well. And like I said, I would have never done it if it weren't for that entrepreneurial community. I mean, helped me tremendously.
What's it called again, Tammy?
Yeah, the Young Entrepreneur Project. And you don't have to be young. It's any age, but they help young kids, and that's part of it too.
Like, so what do you Google, or what do they put up for that?
Just go to my website. Just go to thetrueairhead.com. I've got a link on my website.
Okay,
I'm going to post it I'll post it when we finish our interview.
Yeah.
Post it there so people can go, and I'll tell everybody I'll send a link where you can buy the book as well on Amazon. And let's all support Tammy. You know what? The best thing that you can do is support people that have a really, really good cause. And you're just another person that has an amazing.
And I just want to help, because I want to help people with self-confidence. In the back of my book, I do a self-confidence guide, because I was at such a low place and I didn't think I was capable. And like I said, it changed my life. And I want people to see they can do it, because if I can do it, anyone out there can do it. So I really do like to share the word of both that. And like I said, when I went on this journey, I never expected mold to become such an important part. And I wish I would have written a little more in the book about it. But now I'm
Your
trying
next
to
book.
spread awareness again so I can help others. Because if I can stop one or two people from going through what I went through, I want them to be able to.
Yay.
It's amazing.
Thank you. You're so beautiful inside and out, and I'm so grateful for you to be here today, Gilad.
Well,
You too. I know you're really busy. I don't know if your kids, I say her kids because she's the teacher, have gone back to school yet. They have.
No,
apparently
next
back
week.
here.
Next week.
I can't believe everybody's back at school already.
I know. It's
I'll
like
still be here.
what happened to nobody used to go till after Labor Day? It's like,
Yeah, what's that
No,
about?
no,
so
summer
hot.
school, summer school. But Florida starts early. Florida just started on Monday.
I didn't grow up here. I
California
didn't grow up
started.
here.
I'm seeing a lot of pictures this week. California's starting this week. So, but it depends. Different school districts in this area, they start at different times. But,
Right.
well,
Well,
no,
we're going to invite
I
you
adore you
again,
girls.
Tammy. And maybe next time you come on, we'll do a more in-depth. We'll speak more in depth about mold, and
Maybe we'll bring Bernard on.
yeah, that would be a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I like I said, I'm floored that you wrote a book, because I hear about this person wrote a book and this person. I'm like, that's difficult. So I mean, you also have to have something to write about, and you really, really did. And it's important to think that what you have is important to tell other people, that there's always a message and something. I can't wait to read Stacy's book when she finally published.
Oh, I know, because Stacy's got.
It's going to be 600 pages.
No, it's not. It's going to be a series of books or
Okay.
videos. I think videos is better than books.
I love it.
Makes it much easier. I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
you
It's
too.
great to see everybody. We'll see you all again at another time. Have a great afternoon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Catch it. Yay.